All right. We're gonna get to the Ask the Sons questions and start to wrap up the show.
Oh wait! Before we get there,
Go ahead.
I got a question for you. I mean,
Oh,
after watching your lovely TED Talk and getting to understand more about sexual well-being and what it can do for you. Myth. Not tonight. I have a headache. Can that still be thrown around now that we know that sex is really good for you emotionally and physically?
So, the Podical Sons.
what's up, everybody? I'm Marvelous,
And I'm not your average Joseph.
and we are the Podical Sons. This show is hilariously inappropriate but intellectual beyond belief. So let's start the show. Like, comment, subscribe, all the above, all streaming platforms possible.
All the above.
At Podical Sons Podcast, you can see these lovely faces and hear these expressions, especially from terrorists over here.
Come on.
And-
It's not that bad.
On the socials, at Podical Sons or search Pod Sons, you will see us jump into the polls when we post the polls.
Here.
We appreciate you guys. Keep liking, subscribing, and let's keep it pushing. Today, we about to talk about some sex.
Woo-hoo!
We have a lovely host with us, Serena, Miss Serena Haines. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing really good. I'm excited to be here.
That's good. That's good. We're gonna dabble in with our sex coach, and she's gonna help school us and cue us in because Exhibit A over here said he's porn king and he knows all the positions.
I still got the book
So we're
to
gonna
write.
kill all that
I
noise.
still got the
Because we
book.
have a professional, we have a certified sex coach
Uh-oh.
to debunk his bullshit. So
Uh-oh,
we're gonna
okay,
get cooking
okay.
today. So how you doing today,
We'll
Serena?
see. I'm doing really good. Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
That's good. That's good. So we normally start the show and everything about what brought you joy this week. So what brought you joy this week before you start recording? What happened good to you in the past 7 days?
Well, not a normal week for me, but I just came back from Punta Cana. So I've been in the Dominican Republic the past week, and it was the most amazing trip. I mean, I've been to the Dominican before. I really love traveling there, but I brought my family, my kids. So it was really nice to actually reconnect for a little while, like just us. I've got like teenage to adult children. So it's not easy to connect with them a lot. So bringing them down there and having some fun. So I think that the entire week brought me joy. And then when I came home, I was able to, regroup and resettle into, life and work again.
Sunshine makes a lot of people smile. So I understand that.
Dancing makes a lot of people smile.
That's a fact.
Dancing with some beautiful men who made me do merengue with them made me smile.
Okay.
Juan Carlos and them.
You did do one of those.
No, come on. That's assault. They grab her from the lower back.
I didn't want to be too extreme.
That bachata,
The
that
bachata.
merengue.
Oh, there's nothing better than a good leader on the dance floor, a good leader in other places too. But to dance with a man who, can just move your body in ways you didn't know your body could even move.
Okay.
I'm not mad
It's
at
wonderful.
that. Not mad. What about you, Smooth? What brought you joy this week, man?
Well, a lot of things brought me joy this week, but I got family that came in last night, and I haven't seen them for a while, and it's just catching up on some old memories.
Nice.
Just about a lot of things. The event that they came up for, not so joyful, but I think that kind of set the pace
Mhm.
of kind of just putting some of the softer moments there to
Mhm.
kind of layer the heavy stuff that's about to come, I think.
That's fair.
Yeah.
For me, I was seeing my peoples and enjoying. I didn't get a chance to touch grass, I like to go outside and everything like that, but had a lot of errands. US Thanksgiving popped off. So, back in the building.
Okay.
So let's play. Let's jump into the tank with Serena.
Let's go. Serena or Miss Haines, if you're nasty.
Ooh.
Call me whatever you want to call me.
Okay.
Ow. Okay. So explain to the folks and stuff, what is a sex coach and what is it that you do?
Yeah, so I'm a board certified sexologist and a certified sex and intimacy coach. And sometimes your tongue can get wrapped around that in a good way. But what I do for a living is not what a lot of people think I do for a living. I do not watch you have sex. I know some people think that that would be awesome, but that's not what I do. But it's more like sex therapy. You come on into the office and have a conversation with me. I help people find language to express their desires and their needs. I help them, smash the shame that's been fed into our bodies for centuries and centuries about what pleasure really means and what your sexuality means to you and how important it is to your mental health and wellness. Having conversations with solos and couples as well. So, you can come on in. Some people, come on in and just say, how do I give a good hand job? How do I eat pussy really well? How do I do that? And we have that, and that's really great. But then other things get a little bit deeper into relationship styles and, conflict in relationships and what happens when there's a push pull and, how do we make our long-term basically relationships how do we create that longevity in relationships through pleasure and sex and sexual health as well? So, a lot of different things. I cover a broad range of topics.
Okay. So explain to me and stuff then, when should someone hire a sex coach?
So, I look at it in two different ways. Like we we go to the gym when we feel kind of shitty about ourselves usually, and then you hire a fitness coach, but some people will do it preemptively and they'll say I want to be in the best shape of my life. You go to your doctor before there are things wrong with you, hopefully, right? Sometimes we get you get your checkups and you get all those things preemptively. So we take care of ourselves before there's a problem. So I always say like having a sex coach in your back pocket is kind of like going to the chiropractor or massage therapy. It's maintenance. So you can kind of have me, once a month or once every couple of months, come on in, have a conversation, have a question, and keep your, just kind of keep it at a level that feels good for you going into your life wherever. Then there's those moments where we don't do that. Like that's a pipe dream, right? But because we don't always do that. We don't take care of ourselves until there's a problem sometimes.
Most of the
So
time.
I always say, yeah, most of the time, right? We don't do it until our bodies tell us there's a problem. And now we finally have to listen. So what I usually see are couples or individuals that come in and they're pretty much shut down and closed down. And it's a bit of a task to open all of that back up again and have those conversations. So would I love to see you coming in preemptively and having maintenance in your sexuality and your sexual wellness? Yes. Otherwise, just come in whenever you feel like I'm at a roadblock. I can't talk about things with my partner. I don't have the language to do it. I'm afraid. That's a good one. Whenever you feel like afraid to bring something up with yourself or your partner, just because you don't know what is going to come back at you, and you
Mhm.
don't know how to handle that response, is a really good time to come in because I help give you that language and the conversational skills to talk about anything from, I just don't feel great in my body because I'm aging to I want to try this new position to could you tie me up and clamp my nipples? Like that would feel really good too. So
Right.
it's
Right.
there's such a broad spectrum of things that we want to have conversations about.
It takes a level of like vulnerability and stuff from, I want to say, the people to
Yeah.
even try to come to you. Cause I feel like a lot of times I, f- I feel, I don't know, but I would think that a lot of people would more email you because you can't see their face
Right.
compared to like
Right.
walking in and be like, oh my gosh, so I'm not a porn
I
star like
know.
I think I am. Please help me be Ron Jeremy Jr.
Right. So this is the thing, and I have a love-hate relationship with socials. I have a hard time being on socials a lot, but I try really hard to put my face out there a lot.
Mhm.
Right.
Podcasts are so great. Whatever media that I can get for myself in my business to put myself out there and show you who I am before you even come in is going to help you open up in those moments. So my goal is to, let you hear my voice and let's have a conversation and see how I act and see how, I'm pretty chill so that when you do come into the office, because I know how vulnerable you have to be to even make the
Right.
first
Yeah.
email,
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Like
exactly.
even that first email, I'm like, thank you so much for reaching out. It took so much, it took so much strength for you to even admit that there could be something wrong, especially men. Men do not feel super comfortable admitting that there could be something wrong in their sexual wellness.
I was gonna ask if you find that there's a racial bias between men and women that you see in your practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I have more men reach out for one-on-one
Right.
sessions and I want to say not for the reason most people think because they're actually coming in quite vulnerable. than I do women. But I have more women that will come to public events, shows, workshops, things like that.
Right. Because they might
Because
go to a
women,
sex show with the girls to go look at
Yeah.
toys.
exactly,
Okay.
right? We're going to go. Serena's going to talk about some stuff. It's going to be a laugh. We're going to have a girls' night. It's going to be really fun.
Right.
The guys generally don't get together and come and listen to a sex coach. Although, funny enough, you'll all get together and go to the strip clubs and have boners together, but you won't come and just listen to me. So I'm not sure where that lands. I'm trying to dissect that my whole life.
I like you.
Come on, man. Let's go to the strip club down the street and get some boners together. It'll be sweet. We'll get some chicken wings after. Really? But come and you know it's true.
Just those guy things.
I have no
I love it.
excuse.
Speechless.
I have no excuse.
Accountability.
Right?
I own it.
Yeah, but the men do come in more often to the office. I'm not gonna lie. I have a really soft spot for men when it comes to my work. I think that women have a hard time as well, but we have built-in community. We have this built into our DNA where we talk to our sisters and our aunties and our mothers and our girlfriends, and we do all of these things and we're vulnerable with them.
Right.
But men culturally and societally, the good ones, the lucky ones, have their group. They have their group that they can be vulnerable with. And then we're seeing that a lot more. And I'm so happy for that. But a lot of men don't. They don't have that. So then we wonder why they can't be vulnerable and they can't open up and they can't be emotionally available with their partners. But, the society has told men that they're not supposed to, quote, look weak or look vulnerable or have any sort of softness at all, or it demasculizes them.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit. I mean, we all know that's bullshit. The opposite is actually the truth. But so when men come into the office, they really settle in quite quickly. And I feel really proud of myself for that. I can relate to them quite well. And I've had men sit down and cry openly on first session and just say, there's got to be more to this. There has to be more to my relationship, to my pleasure, to my intimacy, to the way that I'm relating to people. Like, what is wrong? And we know that the quote thing that's wrong is the pressure society has put on men to show up in a certain way. So as soon as they get to sit down and see that a woman is not going to, like, it's not a firing squad, it's me sitting there saying, please tell me. And they get to open up in a really safe place. So I have a lot of men that come into the office for that.
Got it.
So,
Yeah.
okay, let me ask you, before you became a sex coach, what was it that you did before?
So my job before I was a sex coach, I was a paramedic. But
when did you make the
I
switch?
got pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Pardon me?
No, I said, when did you make
Yeah.
the switch, the transition?
Yeah, so I was a paramedic, and then I got pregnant, had my first babe, and then right after that, I had 3 babies in 4 years. So I never went back to work, and my husband allotted, all the finances. It was fantastic, and we had the opportunity for me to stay home with the kids. So I was able to stay home with my kids for 16 years, and it was amazing. I'm still home with them technically, if you wanna, this is my job now, but I get to work from home, and I get to make my own hours.
Right.
So I'm still kind of a stay-at-home mom. But the transition into becoming a sex coach happened twofold. Like, as a stay-at-home mom, I was always really sexual. I wanted to talk about it. If you ask anybody who knew me before I had kids, like in my 20s, they're not shocked that this is what I do for a living.
Okay.
There's
They've seen the
nobody
path.
shocked.
Okay,
They've seen the path.
I like this. So recently we polled a question on our podcast, right? Is it better to marry the freak or the good person? So with you being sexual, would you consider yourself the freak?
I'm a freaky good person. I know what you mean, though. I know. Let me tell you, back in the day, nobody would have ever seen me as a mother. Okay, let's just put it that way.
Really?
That wasn't my archetype. It wasn't where I saw myself going. I wasn't the wife and the mother. I was an independent woman who wanted to be on search and rescue and be a paramedic, like dropping out of helicopters.
Right. Okay.
And just breaking hearts all over the world. That was like my goal. That was who I was.
Okay.
But when I became a mother, that archetype changed, and I settled into it, and I loved it, and I knew it. But I don't know where it came from, because so many women struggle with this. I don't have a problem taking on and off my hats. So, and I kind of never did. So if I had to put on the mom hat today, that's cool. If I've got to put on the auntie hat or like this responsible one, but then when it came time for like my little freak flag to fly, like I could just put that hat on too.
Right.
And just kind of, I knew that I had the capacity to hold all of it. And not every woman does. And that's what I saw as a stay-at-home mom.
Mm.
Women were losing themselves to being caregivers to everybody else and just draining themselves of their life force, like their vitality. And I didn't really understand it. So I started listening a lot. And then I realized, you know what, I want to get out there and I want to talk to these women and tell them that I'm giving you permission to be a little freak because I know that's what you are on the inside because we all are.
So
That's what
how do you go about, like, what is the first steps taken to kind of encourage them to, like, okay, that inner freak that you suppressed like all these years, being the mom and the, the stay at home wife and the quote
Take the
good
locks
wife.
off the door.
Yeah.
Unhinged.
How do you now go from that and just kind of like let it loose? Like, yesterday mom was in curlers and a robe. Today mom is in, you know what I mean?
Boy, I'm going to my TED Talk to go talk about sex. You'd be like, wait, what? Can you pick up some milk, mom? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. On the way home. I was like, I gotta go get groceries now on the way home from my sexy TED Talk. You gotta do it all. Listen, one of the funniest little anecdotes I like to tell women is, you know, your grandma and your great grandma, how she like went around, like you said, with her rollers in her hair and her robe on, and she was doing the thing, but she also had like 17 children.
Damn right.
Yeah. She was moving.
Grandma was into it too, but we just didn't talk about it. Right. So
Right.
now, did she like it? I don't know. We won't get into that. But, you know, it happened and it was there. But no, the first thing that I like to tell women is, you know, it's hard to go straight from, you know, this is what you should do. It's really a feeling, right? It's a relearning of your eroticism. It's a breakdown of the shame and a permission giving moment. So when I usually enter a room when I'm talking to either a group or a person, and I say, look, I'm going to try to be the weirdest, freakiest person here. I'm going to use all the bad words and I'm going to give you permission to be that person that you think society's never going to let you be. I'm going to be her. I'm going to be that. I'm going to break all of the boundaries that you think a good girl should have. And now I want you to see that I can do it and so can you. So that's kind of the first step, is to use some language that maybe she doesn't think she's allowed to use. Talk about some concepts that maybe she doesn't think she's allowed to talk about. Give anatomy lessons to these women and show them where their bodies are and what their pleasure centers are, because we've been so penis focused in our pleasure as women and outsourcing that, especially in heterosexual relationships, that, you know, a lot of women will come to me and say, I'm anorgasmic. I've never orgasmed. I don't get pleasure. I don't have good
I've
sex.
heard that.
Right. Yeah.
And when I ask them about their sex, it's all vaginal sex. Nobody's ever talked about their clitoris. She doesn't even know where it is or what it looks like. And then all of a sudden, this light bulb goes on and she's like, I get boners too. Really?
Right.
And then we move, you know, so like such basic things that a lot of men, because you hold it in your hand all day long, you're never, you know, you don't understand that ours is tucked away sometimes. But we don't know that either because nobody's taught us.
I've noticed, like, so on, I saw I saw a few episodes from the podcast and stuff from your podcast, right? And I looked at it, something like your little clitoris thing. I noticed from the first episode and stuff, like it was kind of, oh, there it is. Bring it out. Bring it.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
I was about to say, you need to name her.
I should have my toy box ready to go, but it's not,
because
it's never too far away.
Because when I seen some of your stuff, I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, so you have a BBC with you along with your clitoris. I'm like, that's okay. I'm for that.
Yeah. Okay. Stand by. Hold on. I'm coming back. I promise. One
All right.
second.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
Look at my big box of toys. Okay. I never thought that I would have such a big box of toys.
That's okay.
Okay.
Girls and their toys.
Let's do. I just came back from a big show, so I'm like, all of my shit's just thrown around everywhere. So this is probably what you were talking about. This little gal here.
Yes.
This is the vulva, right? So this is the outside of a pussy. So here it is, like real kind of, you know, real life,
Right.
sort of. But on the inside, the clitoris is huge. Like the clitoris is a huge organ. Okay, this is like life-sized, and this is a clitoris. anybody's looking, right? Like, and it's iridescent. But this is a life-size clitoris that does not have a boner. So we have the same amount of erectile tissue as a penis, believe it or
Wow.
not. So when this little gal gets a boner, she swells up to like 3-4 times the size. And
Mm.
that's what we really want for female pleasure.
Mhm.
And in order for that to happen, I always like to, can I do a little anatomy lesson? Am I going
Yeah,
off on a
Do
go
it,
tangent?
ahead,
do
go
it,
ahead,
do
go
Do
ahead.
it.
it. Okay, do it. I love it. Okay. So a penis, right? It gets boners. We all know that. And if I had a boner in my hand, or if I had a penis in my hand and it didn't have a boner, I wouldn't think to myself, ooh, it's going to come soon. I would think there needs to be some work to do for this to
Correct.
come. It needs to be hard, right? In order for it to come. We know that. We know the anatomy. So when a penis gets a boner, it's kind of like what I say is, like the floaties that you go floating in the lake and
Yeah.
the rectangle ones, just the regular ass rectangle ones you get at the dollar store. It's got one little hole, you blow in it, it fills up with air. It's pretty simple, right? One tube. That's your dick. But a clitoris is like going to Costco and getting that massive swan that has like 7 holes that needs to be blown up. So you got to blow up one part, then you got to blow up the tail, then you got to work on each wing, and that fucking neck will
Not
never
the
stand up
7-part
straight if you don't,
chambers.
right? Like you got to really work on that neck to get it up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's how long it takes to get a clitoris to have a boner,
Damn
because
you,
there's so many
clitoris.
more erectile beds.
Mm.
There's
Mm.
5 of them in a clitoris when there's 2 technically in a penis. So it just takes a little while longer sometimes. And that doesn't mean a little while longer even from the time you start making out, but like a clitoris, like a pussy needs foreplay all day long. All day long.
So
From the way you talk to her owner to the way that you touch her owner.
so my question to you and stuff is that, can women have great sex without having an orgasm?
Yes. 1 second, let
How
me put down my box of toys. It's heavy. Yes. So we can. Okay. Something that we really, okay, again, I'm going to do the comparison, and one of these days I won't have to do the comparison because we will have so many conversations about it that it will make more sense. But men think that their ejaculation and their orgasm are the same thing, right? I orgasm, I ejaculate. I
I've
orgasm,
learned
I
that they're
come.
Right.
Same
separate.
thing.
Right.
Separate thing,
Separate
right?
things.
Yeah.
You can orgasm, men can have multiple orgasms. We
Yep.
can teach you how, and it's fantastic. You just have to have an open mind and an open asshole. And you can do it too. Promise.
I love it.
Women have the kind of the same idea, right? You can have an orgasm, and that's okay. But some women, when they have their orgasms, are one and done, just like a guy. Just like if you come and you ejaculate, you need a little refractory period. Some people, more or less,
Right.
for whoever you are. Some
Right.
women, when you have your orgasm, they're one and done as well. So maybe you want to just keep edging that and edging that and edging that. And there can be some really fulfilling, powerful sexual connections and pleasure on different parts of the body in different ways with different energy systems participating together, and orgasm not actually being the epitome of what good sex is. I think
Right.
good
Okay.
sex is kind of a place that you go. It's a feeling that you have in your body. It's a connection and a back and forth playtime between the person that you're with. The shitty sex that comes that women don't like, right? Women like sex, but they don't like shitty sex. The shitty sex is when we feel like we're just used as a whole. And when you feel like you're used as a whole, then nothing that that person can do, if you're in a partnership, is going to make that sex feel good to you. It's just going to be numb. And it's like if you were with a person and they
Right.
only fiddled with your balls the whole time, you'd be like, okay, it's not terrible, but like,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
there's more.
I had a notion where a woman was sucking my finger. I'm like, this does nothing for me. I'm like, there's something else you can suck. But
Right. Exactly. Now, funny enough, that could be the opposite with a woman. So I get that. You're like, no, get down to the goods. Like
Yeah.
that could feel a lot better.
Right.
But when it comes to women, a lot of women could have an entire sexual encounter with you just playing with her nipples and her breasts, with you just kissing her neck and playing with her nipples and doing things. The sensation, the key that I think a lot of men should keep in the back of their head is, if she believes you really want to be there and you have nowhere else to be and no other agenda,
Mhm.
Yeah.
whatever you're doing is going to be fulfilling and pleasure filled for her.
It's all about
So
the
you could be,
presence.
it's about the presence. Yeah. If
Yeah.
you are making out and you're making out for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes or whatever, and you are not the one kind of pushing and going, I promise you, she's going to start pushing up against that thigh and she's going to be taking that hand. Like if she knows that her partner, I guess the best way to put it is that a woman, the best sex a woman can have, oh, this is going to come out wrong. I know it
Run
is.
it, run it,
okay.
run it, run it, run it.
Let's go.
This
We're
is
here.
a safe space.
We're
This is a
here.
safe space.
The best sex a woman can have is the sex she has to beg for. You know? Like the sex that she has to be like, "Oh, just put it in. Oh my God, why are you taking so long? Like, touch me, please, do more." Like, if her body is just aching for you and begging for you,
Right.
whatever you do after that, it's gonna feel so fulfilling to her because it wasn't taken from her. It was like, "Oh, like, come on, let's go." Like, her body is ready.
So I have two questions. One, let's say true or false. The longer the foreplay, the stronger the orgasm. And the next one would be, is it a situation where, let's say, she's just begging for you for like her attention and her time, or does it have to be something sexual? So let's say, for example, if I get a phone call from a woman, the woman's like, "How come you don't want to come see me? When you gonna come see me?" Is that leading up to the sex you're talking about?
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
it can. A lot of
Okay.
the time when a woman is asking those things, this is funny. I had a kind of a personal situation with this the other day. And I was saying, do you want me here or do you want me to go?" And he kept saying, "It doesn't matter. I mean, you can go if you want." We were just out, like we were just doing something. Wasn't going to lead to sex. It wasn't
Right.
like that. But it was, "You can go. Like, why? Do you have something else to do?" And he kept answering like my question with another question. All I wanted in that moment was to be told, "No, baby, I want you here. I want you here. I want to see you. I want you."
Mm.
So
But
we want to
we're
hear
stupid. We don't read
that.
minds, though.
Yeah.
We don't
no.
read minds. You got to help men.
You don't
Yeah.
get to read
We're not that
minds.
high. Knock us off the pedestal, whatever you have us on, and talk to us. Be like, "I want you now."
Give us a speak and spell.
Oh, we can do that too. We can do that too, but this is just this dance that I'm talking about between
Gotcha.
two people, right? Like that's all I mean. It's just not all the time. No, nobody's a mind reader, right? But it's just that dance
Right.
between two people. The anticipation that's built, the tension that's built. That's the dance and the foreplay that you want to have during the day. And I think, in my work, what I see, the biggest um the best foreplay a woman can feel is the feeling of being wanted and
Wanted.
desired
Mm.
for men
Mm.
as well,
I
right?
can agree to
You
that.
know that. This is the thing, but we both want it. So this whole like nonchalant thing that's going on in the world these days where it's like, I don't know, like if you want to go, I'll go. I'm like, no, baby, you need to look at me and say, I've been thinking about you all day. I cannot wait to see you because I'm going to say that. I'm going to say, I've been thinking about you all day. I can't wait to see you. And if
Right.
I get response that's something like, "Oh, really?" Dead. We're dead. We're dead. Don't write me back like that. Sorry. I said I can't wait to see you. I want to hear, "Girl, I haven't stopped thinking about you since yesterday."
So it went from
Now we're into
Niagara
something,
Falls to the Sahara Desert.
right? Just like that. Just
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Don't answer a woman dry. Don't talk to her dry. She literally is a flower that needs to bloom and you need to water it. And
Is
I
that the
think a
reason
lot
why
of
they
men
use a
have to
rose?
understand what?
Is that the reason why
Is that
women go for a rose?
Yeah, you could go for the rose
Okay.
and let everything blossom. But I think that's one of the key points in the polarity between men and women is, not to get too traditional about it, but sometimes there's that energy pull back and forth. It needs to start somewhere. And women, a lot of the time, have a huge mental load. We take on a lot. We're in our masculine energy quite a bit. And when
Right.
I say masculine, it doesn't have to be gendered. It's our structured role, right? It's the
Right.
role of mother and corporate and whatever that is. It's the
Kind of like the
structure. It's
hats you were
holding
talking
things
about.
exactly. And we look at our partners, our men and women, it doesn't matter the gender really, but sometimes we look at our partners to take the lead on that. so that we can settle into that femininity that all men say they want. But there's not an environment for that to let loose, women deep in our souls are wired to protect ourselves. And
Mhm.
if we feel like we're still in that protective mode, it's gonna be really hard for us to soften up and be that version of freak that you want. We need to know that we are in a really safe space. And that safe space is gonna be like, baby, I'm in no rush. I cannot wait to see you. I can't wait to touch you. Here's your favorite blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna take you out to dinner. Things are planned. Let's go do it. And it's not necessarily mind reading because you can get it wrong. I've had people say to me, well, what if I don't know what her favorite restaurant is? Or what if I pick the wrong time? I go, it doesn't matter. The fact that you put the effort in is what's really going to matter.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. You think like knowing maybe even like the basics of what you're expressing would help if that is introduced, let's say, at a time where they're teaching sex education as opposed to
Yeah.
just basic anatomy stuff.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
it sounds like to me there's what we grow up missing is that emotional component to sex, or learning that
Yes.
emotional component of sex. And that is seems like what causes a lot of tension
That's a
in
fact.
some in these relationships
You're
and
right.
these happening.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it really does. Like we focus on prevention when it comes to the sex ed we're teaching kids rather than pleasure focused
Right,
anything,
right.
right? It's don't have the babies, don't get the STIs, don't. I've said to my kids since they were little, I said, bring me home any STI you want. Not syphilis. That's a tough one to get rid of. But bring me home all the STIs. Not really, but don't bring me home a
Yeah.
baby. I'm like, please,
Right.
for the love of God, I just raised you. Like, please just ejaculate responsibly. I have 2 boys. And I'm like, please ejaculate responsibly. I'm really tired. I don't want to do that yet because they're too young to do it on their own so far.
Mm.
But no, I do. I think that, and we've actually done research. There is research now that has stated that the earlier we introduce pleasure anatomy and pleasure focused emotional content
Right.
into younger people at an age appropriate level.
Right.
Okay. We're not
Right.
looking at your kindergarteners going, this is how you eat pussy. We're talking about using your proper body language names from the time they're old enough to speak, and then talking about consent when it comes to sharing, age appropriate all the way up. But when they become, mid to late teenagers or a little bit earlier than that,
Yeah,
right?
because
When they are starting to
yeah,
get
Yeah.
exactly.
really into their eroticism, it is important for them to have a good role model. And that role model should just be A, the education that they're having, and B, hopefully, fingers crossed, and I know it's a pipe dream, but at home,
Right.
to have somebody to go home and have those conversations with. But it's so hard, it has to start
That's
somewhere.
definitely a pipe dream
So,
because I wouldn't feel comfortable talking to my mother. Like, let's say this. My mother and I, we had conversations about no means no. So she said, if a woman
yeah,
says no, end the party, go throw some cold water on it, walk out, go home, or send her home, depending on the location.
Right.
But I want to
yeah.
say, to have a conversation with my mother and be like, hey, mom, this woman, she did this tongue flick thing on my. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's not happening.
No.
Ain't no
And I
way.
mean, it
Ain't
might
no
not
way.
go that far. It might not go that far, but I'll be honest, like my boys have come to me and said things like, um, "Hey, I know now I'm different. They know what I do for a living. They've kind of grown up with me talking about sex, so I understand
Which
where
is
Right.
it's coming
good.
Right.
from."
Which
Right.
is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's good. It is really good, and again, being that role model maybe for other moms that they can see me having these age-appropriate conversations with kids, but it's always like kid-led. I don't go to them and say, "Hey, let's talk about the clitoris today," with my kids, but, like, if they have questions, they'll come and ask them. But in school, just to kind of just go back real quickly, I do think that, that pleasure anatomy and the way that pleasure should be focused, it leads into the emotional connections that we have with people, and that should be talked about in school as well. The tough part is that the educators that we have, it's not, I don't want to say it's not their responsibility, but they literally haven't been trained. They're not sexual educators. They're
Right.
math
Right.
teachers and
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're gym teachers. And they have a little bit, but that might not be comfortable for them. And
Right.
I have a lot of compassion for that, and they're going to bring in, like when we go through therapy and, doing counseling and things, you learn to leave your biases at the door. Like you have to have an open mind because
Agreed.
Yeah.
there are cultures and societies and ways people are raised and everything that come into me. I learn every day when I have somebody come in. I'm not in everybody's home, and everybody's raised differently, and you have to keep your own bias out of these conversations. That's hard for somebody who is not trained in doing that. So I just think that there should be a space for trained educators when it comes to sexuality to come into schools and have those age appropriate conversations with kids.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Pleasure focused.
Yeah, I'm thinking my first sex ed class would have been maybe grade 8,
I had it in 10.
and it was done with it was actually, it wasn't even a class, it was part of physical education.
Bingo.
So exactly with what you're being said, this is a phys ed teacher, and probably not even at that level, probably not even a phys ed teacher, just someone who taught phys ed. So expecting to learn all these wonderful things about sex from somebody who probably barely knows anything about physical education itself is probably a tall order, and you're right.
Did they throw on the movie? Was it
I
the
probably
Miracle of
seen
Life?
more movies than anything
No,
else.
but did you see the health class?
I did
the
see
Miracle of Life with the lady with the bush?
Yes.
Having a baby? Okay.
Yeah, like it's a really tough place for educators to be. But the research is showing that the more pleasure focused our education is earlier with people, age appropriately, the more autonomy people will have over their bodies, the less, what we're hoping is the less assaults more women and men are going to have to go through, because they have the agency to really say no. So picture this. Again, young men, from the time they're whatever age until whenever they're jerking off and they're touching their bodies and they know what their pleasure is, and they're with a girl and, maybe she's fiddling with his left thigh and he goes, "No, babe, I mean, it's over there."
Right.
And you say it because you
Right.
know your body and you're like, "You got to touch this part in order for it to feel good." And she goes, "Oh, okay." And that's the thing, but you have that agency. You can speak up for yourself because you know your pleasure. Now, young women are not, it's not okay for a young woman to touch her body, quote. We've never been taught about our own pleasure anatomy. There are women who I work with in their 60s, 50s, and 60s who didn't know they even had a clitoris. They don't know what it looks like. The clitoris itself was, I don't want to say discovered because it was discovered a while ago, but really we're only mapping it since 1995 and really only figuring things out since 2003, I believe. I could have that wrong, but that's what I think. So this is a new concept for women. Now, imagine yourself as a young, well, I don't know if you can imagine yourself as a young woman, but as a young woman myself, I was in situations with, erotic situations with young boyfriends and doing the things and just letting him take the lead because men, quote, know what they're doing.
Right.
Men are the sexual ones. And so I just let people touch me. And some of it felt great. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't mean that in a nasty way. Like, it felt great. But I didn't know what they were touching. I was just like, okay, you put your hand down on my pussy and you do the thing and your fingers go in and you fiddle them around a little bit and I give you a blowjob and then you get off. Yay. Okay, that's how it happens. When you finish, that means sex is finished. When he comes, that means everybody was happy. Those are the lessons that girls learn from a really young age, and not, just from society itself, from porn, from TV, from everything. It's that when the penis has its fun, that's good sex. But when we teach young girls what their bodies are actually capable of, young women, I'm going to change that language, not young girls, young women, what their pleasure is and what that feels like, what it feels like for them to touch their own bodies. There's nobody's dusty ass son going to come rub my left labia and think that he is the shit anymore. You are going to say, "Sir,
Get away,
please stop with the
Dusty."
DJ booth. Please stop with the DJ booth on my clitoris. If we don't do one of these anymore as fast as you fucking can. Well, thanks. You're going to touch it the way that I tell you you're going to touch it. And that's what we want from women. And that's what men want from women. You want, and so many men come to me and say, "Tell me what you want. Tell me what feels good. I want to please you. I want to do these things for you."
The song's called "What Do You Like?"
That's all you want.
The song said, "What do you like? What do you like?" A whole lot of foreplay right before you get it started. Let me know.
Right. But women have been shamed from knowing what they like and touching their own bodies for so long that it is so foreign for us to even say what we want. some of us don't even know what it feels like to have an orgasm with a partner or with ourselves sometimes. So like, it's such a crazy concept to a lot of men to think that women aren't experiencing regular pleasure the way they do, right? Most guys are going to wake up in the morning, jerk off in the shower, go off with their day, maybe do it again at
Wait, what the fuck?
lunchtime and maybe after the
That's how you
HR
start your
meeting.
day?
I don't know.
I start my day with a cup of green tea.
It goes well with the green tea.
Like, what the? Okay, let me ask you this. With the rise of, let's say, easy access to sexual material, is sex still
Yeah.
considered taboo, a taboo conversation? Do you believe?
Yeah. 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 It
Really?
is still. But I think it just depends on it depends on the environment, right? But sexual education, believe it or not, is more taboo than talking about fucking, right? So this is the thing. Yeah,
Wow.
like, I mean, you can have the conversations and the crass conversations and the jokey conversations, and people are talking about it still. But it's
Oh,
still
but the
really
education
hard for
about it.
people
Yeah.
to, yeah, right? It's still really hard for like a couple. Like, let's say, you're with the boys or you're out and you're doing your thing and you can talk about sex and we're laughing and joking about it. But then your partner comes to you and says, listen, can I have a conversation with you about the way that you touch my clitoris? Because it really doesn't feel good to me and I want to just change the technique a little bit. That's still not, it's not being,
Yeah,
that
a lot
feedback
of
is
guys,
not
their
being
ego
taken.
and stuff will be deflated after a comment because so I feel like a lot of men feel like whatever I do, I'm the shit. This is going back to your dusty ass boy conversation thing, whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then for somebody that they were intimate with on a like closer setting to tell them like, hey, that didn't work for me. Like some guys are, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. And it hurts because again, this is the language that and the concept of feedback has been rejection, right? Every time you're
Ah.
told something is not right, it's criticism and rejection. But I like to tell people that we're going to reframe that and not call it rejection or criticism even anymore, not even constructive criticism, because that triggers our brain to think there's something wrong.
Right.
It's just going to be feedback. And I think that when you're in a relationship with somebody, even casually, I know not everybody's going to do it, but I'm going to say it until it happens. I'm just going to drill it home. Even after casual sex, you should have a little feedback session. Have a little orange juice, have a little replenish whatever you're doing and be like, "Hey, what was your favorite part of that?"
Right
What was the
after?
thing that you really liked?
What is it, a Google
Sure, why
review?
not?
I'm gonna
What?
have my right beside the bed. I have like a clipboard with a little pen and it just
Yeah,
So,
clipboard.
did you
Put
like when
your
I
little
pulled your
wrinkles on it.
hair?
just fill this out for me, please.
Did you like when I smacked the cheek? Yeah. You might as well have the.
Just check
No,
what you
but like
like.
it happens organically. Like you're just in bed, you're cuddling, it's all over, like everything's done, you're snuggling in bed, and then you look at your partner and you say, "Oh, babe, do you know what I really loved? I loved when you were kissing my neck that, blah blah blah." Or I really loved when you like grabbed my balls when you were something something. And she goes, "Oh my God, really?" And then likely she'll be like, "Oh my God, stop talking about that." And then you can say, what did you really love? Like, tell me what you loved. Because I loved when I was touching your pussy this way. Like, did that feel really good for you? And then and who knows, maybe you get really horny again and you do
I'm
it
about to
again.
say that
'Cause
might
sex
start a
begets
whole
sex.
lot of
The
that might start a
refractory period
whole
will
lot of-
shrink. You see, for me, I always like, for me, my thing I naturally do with stuff would be just to always say like, thank you. And I'm grateful for the event because like there was a situation and stuff, whatever. Story time. There was a situation where I was with a woman and she did oral, she performed oral and everything and stuff. When she was giving me head and stuff, and I was like, oh wow, like, thank you. She's like, thank you. That was my grade B performance. You should see S. I was like, oh shit, I can't wait. So I look at it stuff as like, I always like, thank you for the event because you could have gave anybody else in the world pussy, but you chose to give it to me. And I appreciate you for that. So thank you. But now we're gonna like, here's my review chart. So let me know what you like.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
stop. It doesn't have to be like this. See, even you guys are taking it as such a serious thing. I know why, though. I get it. But this is what I mean. I'm going to drill it home because how easy would it have been for you to be like, thank you when you licked blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That felt like heaven.
Yeah.
That's it. That's your feedback, right? And then you start a
okay.
conversation. Now, casually, right? Casually, you're kind of like, Thank you. That was nice. I really like it. Doesn't have to be callous. We really love our people. And even if it is casual sex, I think that's a beautiful thing. But when you're in a relationship with somebody, like, and this is long term, and you're going to be
Mhm.
having sex with maybe the same person for quite a long time, you want to sit back and be like, what's working for you? Because in 25 years, if you don't, in 10 years, if you don't, in 6 years, you're going to be in my office and your woman's going to be sitting there going, doesn't even fucking know how to touch me. It's been this long. He doesn't ask me what I
And
Right.
want.
this is part of the reason why I was
And
asking, like, when should someone see a sex coach? Because I look at it stuff as where, let's say there's couples and stuff that have been together for like 20 odd years, right?
yeah,
And it's all funny and stuff. I always say this is all in God and stuff, whatever, where when the man is younger, young, dumb, full of cum is up there. And then as he get older and stuff, but his testosterone drops, so he might want it less. When there's some women, they hit their sexual revolution and like past their age of 30, and now they want it more. So now they're on opposite sides of the fence. And I'm looking, I'm like,
yeah.
there should be some kind of like conflict or turmoil and stuff in between there and stuff. But I'm like, when do we have this conversation? Like maybe we should see somebody or speak to somebody about this and everything. But most couples don't.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't. And they don't go to couples therapy until there's a problem either. So it's
Mm.
just a loaded question because who knows? You could, it could be a year. Like I said, I think it really should be like you do marriage counseling. Sometimes people do before they get married.
Yeah,
You should be doing sex counseling and sex coaching
that's good. I
too
like
to
that.
Yeah.
find out what you love.
I like that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
see, some people are going to be compatible for a little while and not compatible forever. And that's okay. That doesn't mean your relationship is over. It means you need to traverse a lot of ups and downs and figure out what's going on, especially as our bodies change, like you said. There's going to be times when, you're both in your 20s and she doesn't even know what her body does and you're, young, dumb, and full of cum. And then there comes a point where, like you said, she finally gets to know her body and you know yours too, but now nobody's talking about it, right? So it's not just we're not having sex. It's we're not having sex and we're not talking about why. And when
Right.
we don't
Oh,
talk about the why,
why?
Yeah.
that's when the conflict comes in,
Yeah.
right?
Gotcha.
Because one person or both are going to feel distant from the other. They're going to feel ignored. They're going to feel not desired or not desirable. There's going to be a lot of resentment. And then that resentment turns into critique. And then that critique turns into contempt. And that contempt turns into divorce. So this is
Mm.
the process of where that comes from when we're not willing to have the conversations. This is a new-ish profession that is coming out into the world, and there's lots of different sex educators and coaches talking about these things now. So we're kind of hoping that the conversations we have around sex roll into these emotional connections as well, because you're not going to want to have sex all the time. Shocker. I hate to tell you, but you're probably going to be on opposite ends of that for quite a
Right.
while.
Right.
And there might be a couple of weeks where you come together and then you don't. And then she's going to go into perimenopause at a certain age too. And she's going to be like, don't fucking touch me. I don't even like myself, let alone do I like you. Now you got to manage that kind of conflict. So if you're looking at longevity in your relationship, there needs to be these preventative and then maintenance conversations that are going to be had around everything, not just who's doing the laundry and who's paying the finances, but baby, do you need your tits sucked today? Because I can do that and we don't need to have sex. We can just do the thing that you really love, right? My husband and I, for a long time, years and years ago, when we had little babies, we just implemented there was no fun name on it or anything, but it was just like we knew we didn't need to finish. Like if one of us was horny, they would come to the other one and we would do a couple of things until the other person was like, man, okay, go on. I got things to do. But you got to have that connection. So there could have
Mm.
been times where like he got out of the shower and he was feeling it and I was feeling it. And maybe I would like give him a quick little blowjob and then go on with the day,
Right.
but like nobody finished. Nobody finished anything. It was just a space of connection. Now for us, that
That
worked.
that that
For
one
not
hurts my
everybody.
feelings though, because I look at if I come out the shower and then she puts my dick in her mouth and I'm looking like, but I didn't. She's like, bye, have a great day. That's to jumpstart your day. Then I won't need the green tea, but I'll be still driving in traffic. Kind of, what the fuck?
Yeah. Right.
But don't you think that would just like it would just build tension? Wouldn't you be in a good mood all day?
Kind of. I
Kind
would,
of.
but like I would be
Kind of.
more. Can't wait to leave work to be like, hey, can we finish what we started this morning?
Yes, exactly. See, exactly. So now all day
Ah,
you're going to be like, "Hey babe, how's your day going?" You're going to be like, "Oh damn, I can't poke the bear. I better keep this one happy." And the vice versa too, because when things would happen to me, I'd be like, ooh, I'm going to make sure supper's cooked when he comes home. I'm going to make sure I do the little thing because we started something and we might want to finish it later. This is
Okay.
Right, right.
elongating foreplay. So another concept is that foreplay, we think, is from the time we start touching until the time somebody comes. But foreplay, ready, everybody? Get your jot notes out, get your clipboards
Got
out.
it.
Yeah.
Foreplay
Got it.
begins when sex ends, and it has to continue on
Until sex starts
until you
again.
are erotically connected again. And then as soon as you are, that's called
Mm.
sex. So this is how we're going to redefine this. Instead of it being a desert of nothing until somebody gets a boner, and then all of a sudden we're foreplay, sex, and then we're done again.
Right.
It's going to be foreplay all day, every day, from the way you speak to each other to the way you have conversations about finances and kids. You want to treat them really kindly and be really good and kind of stoke those fires all the time. Little, date night here or favorite flower there or favorite dinner cooked here, whatever it is in your life. Everybody's different, right? So whatever that is, just that foreplay. When you start kissing, when you have the moment, when you become erotically connected again, everything from that first kiss to the time it ends, which doesn't have to be an orgasm, we call sex. That way, if you only made out once this week, you can still say I had sex this week. If you quote just did oral,
Mm.
you had sex this week. If you did a cuddle session and somebody did a little hand play, doing a little thing, you had
Yeah.
sex this week. Now I've got couples going from not having sex, only having sex once every 2 months to, oh yeah, we did make out this week 3 times, or we did do that. Now they're saying their brains are kicking in and it's changing that habit, that narrative. And they're saying we had sex 3 times this week. And now their brain is and their body is kind of going, ooh, we're really sexy. And guess what? Now they have more sex. And now they do more things
Right.
because we just reframe what that feels like.
So
in our
for myself
bodies.
now, whatever, right? I want to say that if I'm with a woman and let's say we're probably like spending a good amount of time together, I like to just, I don't know, I wouldn't consider it sex, but it's what you're saying, I guess it might be because I like to touch ass. So I like to rub a woman's ass and stuff, whatever, and just say a little flirty 1-2 things and stuff and like, can't wait to clap, to jump on you a little later and stuff. And if you're like, hey, do you want something to eat? And I'm like, like, that's sex?
That's foreplay.
Oh,
That's
okay.
foreplay.
That's
Okay.
your foreplay.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's happening before you're erotically connected. So I say the word erotically connected, meaning physically in the moment of doing something. It kind of encompasses everything from the first kiss makeout to the fingering, to the oral, to the whatever that is.
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
erotically connected. So everything you're doing, that's the foreplay. And I
Mm.
think that's a concept. So bravo, because that's a concept a
Yay,
lot of
better than
people
you.
miss.
Yeah.
I like to be
It is
better
a
than
He
him.
does. He does. He does.
but it is something that a lot of people miss. We need that. Both parties need that.
Right.
The men who come in my office, they say, okay, well, I put the effort in, but she's so closed off. She doesn't give it back to me at all. She doesn't want to touch me or do anything to me at all. And I say, okay, but maybe that's not the way she gives the love. We need to have a conversation about how we give love to our partners compared to how we give love, because that's a different thing altogether.
Right.
But what does she do? What effort do you see? Whether it's what you recognize as foreplay to you, but do you see her doing anything outside her norm? Maybe your car was warmed up. Maybe your favorite dessert showed up on the counter. I don't know,
Mm.
right?
Right.
Like maybe it's not what you consider sexy foreplay, but can you see her put any effort in that's a little bit different than what maybe it used to be? And then that could be her way of saying, I'm listening. Because it's still this can sound so silly, but it's so true. It's still a really scary place for a woman to be vulnerable with her sexuality. Because a good girl is not supposed to be a freak, right? You
Right.
don't take the freak home to mama.
Mm.
All of these
Say it.
narratives
God
in your
bless you.
head, all of these narratives in your head, and then your man looks at you and says, why aren't you a freak? And you say, all I've heard my whole life is you don't take a freak home to mama. So now I have to be this one version of person. So now how am I supposed to feel comfortable showing that sexy, freaky side of me and thinking that you're going to accept me because you slut shame people who do that? And I don't want to be slut shamed like that. And so I'm never going to act that way, unless it's in the dark and in the, when the lights are out and the thing, and it's a moment in time. But otherwise, society tells me that I can't act that way. So I want people on all sides to, kind of, if you want to be a little slutty, do it. And if you want a little slutty in the bed, you got to be okay and not judge other people for being a little slutty, because she hears that.
Right.
And then she's not going to do that.
Right.
Right.
Because my main thing is stuff when it comes to that aspect, I always think about like alter egos, right? And I feel like an alter ego and stuff, like I have an alter ego and stuff I want to say more so for the bedroom time and stuff for myself, because I look at it stuff as where, especially being a black man, there's a lot of taboos and stuff for this, like how you were saying, like orgasm, men can have orgasm if they open up their ass. Not a lot of men I know and stuff is willing to admit that out loud and stuff, whatever, right? So I look at it stuff as now you have to kind of develop, or myself have to develop an alter ego and stuff and saying like, that might not be my thing, but looking at stuff as I like to make a pretty girl get ugly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know
how do you make a pretty girl get ugly?
with the faces, the fuck me faces.
No, yeah, but you make her feel safe.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
You make her feel safe to be ugly. You make her feel safe to be a freak. That's what a woman needs. She needs to know that no matter what happens in that bedroom, that afterwards you're going to look at her the same and you're going to consider her the same. And when she feels that, when a woman feels safe, you will get that version of her in bed, and you will also get the version that you take home to mom. You will get it all if she knows that she can feel safe. But if she hears you calling out and slut shaming other people, other women or other men's women,
Right.
and then she thinks to herself, you're going to talk about me that way when I do that.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking doing that. You're going to look at me that way when I do that. Good luck. You're not getting that version of me. Right. So it's really tough in this world, because we joke. There's so many jokes, and sex is such a big joke, and we talk about it all the time. And, talking about slut, hoe, and, fuck boy and all of this stuff, they roll off our tongues so easily. But if we really want that version of our person, or we really want to be looked at as a person who you can feel safe with, then we need to be really careful what comes out of our mouths, so that when a person wants to come with us, they're going to go, he, she, whatever, they can get really freaky, and they really respect people who can get really freaky. And that's the kind of person that I want to be with.
Right. I want to talk about, should every adult own a masturbator?
Should? No.
Oh, okay.
Can? Yeah. I mean, whatever feels good for you. That's
because I want to say, like, with the rise of, let's say, like, for men now with sex dolls and stuff like that, right? I want to say for the longest, our toys weren't as elaborate as some of the women's, like even things like the rose and stuff, right? Now we're at a point where, like, again, they have these dolls and stuff like that, or these masturbators that are just butt cheeks and pussies and everything like that.
I have one. I name her Diana.
Diana. Dirty Diana.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why, but yeah, I have her. I should have all of my stuff here. Yeah, she's a little ass, and I slap her all the time.
Do you recommend women and men to, like, let's say for women and stuff, because, like, let's say if I was a woman and I never came in to or speak to a sex coach and stuff like that, and I've never had an orgasm before, would you recommend her to start off with a toy? Because self-pleasure first before you expect pleasure from someone else, no?
Right. Yeah. So twofold on that question. I think that vibrators are fantastic and clitoral stimulators are fantastic. I think every woman should have one. Men too. If you want one, cool, get one. I do think that women specifically, because men know how to do this most of the time, I think women should learn how to bring themselves to peak pleasure, whether it's orgasm or just their peak pleasure, with their hands first. And that's dicey sometimes, because we talk about a positive feedback loop with people who maybe haven't had an orgasm, and doing it with your hands can take a long time, which causes a negative feedback loop and makes you not want to do it again, and you feel like you failed and all of those things. Now, we brought in a rose, and I said, slap that on your clit and call me in 5 minutes. Then she's going to have a positive feedback loop from that and be like, holy shit, right? But now we also don't want to get dependent on something that our partners can't replicate. Right. So we have to be really careful. Now, if you're in a partnership and you and your buddy say, every single time we're going to be together, we're bringing in the team, the vibrators,
toys,
the sleeves, the whatever.
the team.
Cool.
The team.
Awesome. but right, because it's teamwork.
Teamwork made the dream
But
work.
Yeah.
makes the dream work. But if you're with somebody or you're the kind of person who's like, ooh, I don't want to bring that into my partnership, and then you come to me and you say, I can't orgasm with my partner, but I come every day with a pocket pussy or with a rose or whatever, I'm going to say, well, maybe your body has now created a pleasure pathway of dependency to that. And you might need to ease off of it so that you can practice being with a person.
Would that be
right? Okay.
Not to cut you, but would that be equivalent to, like, I guess men just constantly jerking off and stuff by themselves? So okay, so that's the duality now. So it's kind of like, I guess, for women overusing the toys and men over jerking by the. Gotcha.
And it's not even the over jerking too. So on the thing of jerking off, like if it's not with a toy or with a sleeve or with anything, it's just your hand.
Yeah.
The challenge that I'll see sometimes when guys come in is that if they're jerking off quite a bit, that's okay. The quantity is not necessarily the problem. It's the fact that your big ass hands are bigger than my little hands, and your grip is probably a lot stronger than my grip, especially my
Oh.
pussy's grip. And if you're jerking off with a grip and, a rhythm, and then you come to me with my pussy that's really wet and really swollen and open and it can't grip, because guess what? Tight pussy is unaroused pussy. It's not supposed to be tight.
Yeah.
That's another myth that we can talk about. But, you might have a problem climaxing because you're used to a certain feel, right? You're used to a certain grip and a certain consistency. So what I say in those moments are loosen your grip, slow down your jerk, add a lube, and practice that way. You want to practice how you play. Do you guys play sports?
You used to. I'm
You wanna
learning. I'm
practice how
learning.
you play,
Practice how you play. Okay.
Okay.
I've
right?
never heard that.
I've got sons in hockey. We don't go out. They always say, you don't go out for a Sunday skate during practice. You got to practice the way you would play in a game. You don't go out in a game and do your little Sunday skate. So I say, when you're going to practice, if you're going to be by yourself and you're practicing, practice how you would play. If you want to have extended time, if you have premature ejaculation, which is that means something different to everybody. But if you come too fast for your liking when you're with a partner, then you're going to want to practice slowing yourself down when you're by yourself, edging yourself, feeling what it feels like to get to your peak pleasure just before you really want to go with that real last, go. You know what I'm talking about. You want to get to that point and then slow yourself down again. And then bring your body to that point and slow yourself down again. So now you're practicing feeling your peak arousal, which is what you would feel with your partner. And you're able to kind of manage it and bring yourself back down, have control over it. And a man who has control over his arousal is a really powerful man.
I'm going in
Because then he
training
can-
tonight. I'm going in training tonight.
Going into training. I'll call you next week and be like, hey, talk.
Be like, all right, I'm a different man, Serena. I appreciate you.
Green tea and masturbation. I'm in.
I'm in.
Best version of you coming up.
Literally.
Okay. One more thing is before we move on to the question of the week. If your sex was a flavor of ice cream, what would it be? Smooth already said his sex is vanilla.
Yeah, mine is vanilla.
Oh, it's not vanilla.
You know me already.
No. Okay, what's my ice cream flavor? It's nothing crazy like, bubble gum or something stupid like that. It would and it's definitely not something easy. It would be like, I'm from Nova Scotia. I don't even know if you guys are going to know these ice cream flavors, but it's like moose paw droppings. Okay, so it's like a vanilla ice cream
droppings.
Expands on that.
I'm gonna have to ask.
It's like
Holly
a vanilla
this one.
ice cream with cinnamon, with caramel swirls
Oh.
and like Reese peanut butter cups and little bits of cookie dough and like a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay.
The base is vanilla. So my base is vanilla,
Mhm.
but I'm open to all of the little goodies that come inside.
All right, I like that.
I like that.
How about that?
For me, I think I'm more of a Rocky Road type of person and stuff, whatever, because within the chocolate, you don't know what you might get. You might get a little this, a little that. So that's
Yeah, so that's similar. That's what I mean. Yeah, like I'm open to all of the things.
all right, vanilla
good.
man.
All reliable over here.
Oh, reliable.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong.
Listen, nothing wrong with it.
Be who you are. Be who you are. All right. We're going to get to the question of the week. So the question of the week this week is, when was the last time you've cried in front of another person? I'll start with you,
Oh,
Smooth.
Jesus. Yeah. Go ahead.
Wow, last weekend.
Last weekend.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, in front of the wife.
In front of the wife?
Yeah. No, there's the little passing in the family, so yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I think for me, I want to say probably about a week ago.
About a week ago.
Within a week ago and stuff, whatever, because I feel like I had like a moment and stuff in my world. I had to contact somebody, and then I was talking to somebody, and then eventually the first person I saw, I was telling them about the experience I had with the person that I was talking to, and then it just started coming out, and then they, save space. But then again, over here on this side, we're vulnerable people, right?
Right.
So I look at it as for men, it's not often that men would admit that they cried in front of like somebody, even a woman, much less.
Yeah.
And what about you, Serena?
Baby, I am perimenopausal. I cry every day. Every day. Over something.
Own it.
Yesterday, I cried watching some movie about like champagne and like one of those holiday movies. I was like, oh, I hope they fall in love in the end. Yeah, I cry all the time.
How do you feel?
I have no shame.
How do you feel about men saying that it's not okay to cry in front of a woman? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't love that. I don't love that. I feel like they're putting themselves in a place of just holding some really, really heavy things all on their own when we're meant to hold those things together.
But
we're
the traditional man, not to cut you, but the traditional man he's supposed to be stoic. Like it's kind of like men suffer in silence, right?
Right.
And
right.
there's a lot of rhetoric going around, especially like I want to say within the world or social media stuff, saying that there's some women saying, I don't want my man to be crying all like that. Or if he's going to cry that much, his ass should maybe go to therapy. So with men even hearing feedback from certain women and stuff like that, whatever, it's kind of like you kind of take him back. Because I know for a fact that like even if I'm seeing a woman, I'm trying to hold back as much as possible from crying or shed a tear in front of her and stuff, whatever, because of the fear of ridicule or judgment, right?
Yeah. So that's the societal and cultural narrative that even she hears, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of the flip side of what I was talking about earlier with the men coming in saying, there's got to be more to this, there's got to be more, but society has told me X, Y, and Z. The patriarchy doesn't just affect, it's not men against women. The patriarchy is a system, and misogyny is a system that have destroyed all of us.
Right.
And that patriarchy is coming through the women as well. So it's not just a conversation we want to have with our men. Like I want to have conversations with women and also say, that's not right. Your man needs to have a safe place to land at the end of the day or at the end of whatever's going on in his life. And if you're not going to be that, then you're going to have a man that's holding so much inside. And we don't have to get into the statistics on men unaliving themselves and doing all of the stress that they have to hold.
Right.
So it's an endemic,
Mhm.
of men's stress and heartache that they're having and suicide prevention, that we want to have these conversations with everybody to say that, opening up your emotions is a really important thing. So to those women, I would say, maybe do a little bit of work for yourself and understand that it's an internalized patriarchal view that men have to be so strong all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean they have to hold everything. If you want a man to, in my opinion, okay, this is just an opinion, but if you want a man to be there for you and to hold your emotions and to hold that safe structure for you so that you can open up and do all those things,
You have to do
you
it as
have to
well.
also be able to reciprocate that for him.
Okay.
Because if not, you're just going to be pounding against something that's not going to open up for you. And that's just not conducive to a beautiful reciprocal relationship.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get to the Ask the Sons questions and start to wrap up the show.
Oh, wait. Before we get there,
Go ahead.
I got a question for you. I mean, after
Oh.
watching your lovely TED Talk and getting to understand more about sexual well-being and what it can do for you. Myth. Not tonight. I have a headache. can that still be thrown around now that we know that sex is really good for you emotionally and physically?
So, I mean, anybody can say no to sex anytime they want for whatever reason. So that's the deal, right? But we have been told that we need an excuse to say no.
Right.
And it's a big question because really it rolls into everything we talked about, how women don't understand how beautiful sex can be, right? So, can it be used as a reason? You can have any reason at all that you want, but yeah, sex is really good for you. And sometimes if we have a minute, I might get into something here.
Yeah,
Talk.
yeah, go ahead,
Um,
go ahead.
yeah, so we have different desire types, you guys, and I do wanna point that out because that's something that we hear a lot of women say, right? Like, "I have a headache, I don't wanna do it." It's because our body and our brain are not connected. This is what we call responsive desire. And then there's spontaneous desire. It's the desire that usually, stereotypically, but not always, men have, where they get a little boner, they see something, they get aroused in their head, they compartmentalize their arousal, and they say, I wanna go do it, I can't wait, you're my person, let's go," right? And
Right.
their body and their brain are in it together. So a little exercise that I've coined with some relationships, so you guys can use this and bring this home to your partners. It has to be consensual, it has to be talked
Let's
about. It's
go. I'm ready.
nobody forcing anything on anybody, but it's just called the 5-minute rule, okay? 5-minute rule. Partner comes to you and says, "I wanna have sex." Immediately, your brain goes, "No, I have a headache. I don't wanna do it." Because what's she thinking? She's probably thinking, "It's late at night. This is gonna take forever. Maybe I don't come." Whatever her reasons are, right? But
Right.
maybe the sex is not good. I started saying no to my partner years ago at night because an orgasm revives me and kept me up all night. When I would have an orgasm, I'd be awake all night. So I started saying no
But I
to him
can't
because I
sleep,
was
so I
Mm.
get
exhausted.
tranquilized by sex. So
Uh,
so
This
like
is
I like to have me personally, I like to have sex in the night in the
in the
nighttime.
daytime.
Nighttime.
Oh, in the night. Yeah.
In the nighttime. But like for another like for most women and stuff that I know, they prefer like a little morning sex to kind of chipper up their day.
Kind of get you going in the
Right.
day. So anyway, the point being everybody's gonna have a different reason why maybe they say no or their body and their brain are not connected.
Hmm.
So this is just called the "just give me 5 minutes" exercise. You've talked about it with your partner, you already know it's gonna be implemented. You look at your partner who says, "I have a headache," and you say, "Baby, just give me 5 minutes." Set a timer. Set a timer, it can be in the kitchen, on your phone, I don't care, and I mean 5 minutes to the dot. Her brain goes, all I have to do is 5 minutes. I don't have to commit to anything else. Okay. 5 minutes. You get some
Mm.
intimacy for 5 minutes. Now, hear me out.
Mhm. I already
5
like where this is
minutes,
going.
5 minutes, the chemicals in your body start to work. So that brick wall that she had a minute ago
Uh-huh.
is starting to dissolve a
Uh-huh.
little bit. Maybe she's not super happy about it. Maybe she's still a little
Uh-huh.
snotty
Uh-huh.
about it, but you're kissing on her and you're kissing her neck and you're doing the things and her oxytocin is bubbling up and the
Yeah.
things are
Yeah.
happening. After 5 minutes, most of the time, things organically go past the 5-minute mark, okay?
Mm.
Because we've given ourselves, as the responsive desire person, a leeway, kind of an out, right? If after 5 minutes I still didn't feel it, now here comes the hard part. I get to look at you and say, "Baby, I'm really not feeling it tonight. Like, we did the thing, we tried the 5 minutes, my body and brain are actually not
Connecting.
cohesive
Yeah.
tonight,
Right.
and this is real now, and I just don't want to." Now, the partner who wants it needs to be really strong and just say, "Okay, baby, thank you for the makeout session." Right? No
Right.
guilt trip, no and being pissy about it because we wanna create a positive feedback loop to the "just give me 5 minutes."
Yeah.
Because then the next time you say, "Just give me 5 minutes," if you've been a bitch about it afterwards, she's gonna be like, "Not a chance,
Not a
we're not
Yeah.
doing
chance.
Right.
that."
Right. Right. Right.
But if you were really understanding, she's gonna go, "Okay, this might work again." And then all of a sudden, our chemicals, the hormones, the things that we don't control start to come into play and do the job they're supposed to do rather than our brains, which is an asshole a lot of the time and just trying to keep us, doing X, Y, and Z. And that brick wall that we have built up around us, it starts to dissolve and it
Mm.
starts to
Mm.
loosen up a little bit. So that's just a little tip.
See, I might get a little crafty. See, I might personally stop myself after that 5 minute and be like, "What happened?
5
Oh,
minutes.
We only
right?
agreed to 5 minutes.
He's like, don't just stop now.
Don't just stop now.
Exactly. And then what do? Let's rewind back to the beginning of this podcast. You make her beg for it, right?
No.
And now she's in that moment where she's like, no, baby, come back. And that is the epitome of a beautiful
love it.
feeling.
Full circle, baby. Full circle.
Yeah.
This is my new
It's-
favorite
it's
episode for
amazing.
now. Message. Okay, I dig that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. 5-minute rule. I'm gonna implement that and stuff, whatever, as of today into my world and see what.
Yeah. And remember to have that big conversation about it first. You can't listen, guys. You can't just go up to her while she's doing dishes and go, just give me 5 minutes. And she doesn't know what you're talking about.
No.
Have a conversation. This is,
Spring the 5-minute rule on her.
Sexologist Serena said that this is a little exercise we can do. Are you on board? And then that's the key. That's kind of like the trigger, like the Pavlov's dog kind of thing, right? She hears, just give me 5 minutes.
Right.
Then she knows that like, this is actually an exercise that we're going to do together right now. And we're both in on it. We're going to do it. And once that timer goes off, I have an out if I really don't want to, but I really might just want to keep going.
Okay.
Right.
All right. We're going to get to the Ask the Sons questions. These are from our listeners out there in the world. First question comes from Lucky Lucy. What is your unconventional, I need this in a partner that you will not negotiate on?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
For me, I would say any woman that I'm with has to, I wouldn't say unconventional, be a mother. And the reason why I say that is because I have a son, right, from a previous relationship and everything like that. And I've once dated with a woman who didn't have kids. And it wasn't really receptive and stuff because she didn't want to have kids. And it was kind of like, she's not really for kids to bring my son around her.
Right.
It's a no bueno because my son is my world. So I was like, yeah. And when I made that rule and stuff for myself, I had another dirtbag friend and stuff. He jumped up. He's like, I like it because he's like, then you know for a fact and stuff, whatever. Single moms always can have somebody to go home to, and that's you. But that's my unconventional.
Mine would be listen with an open mind.
A listener with an open mind.
Yeah.
Not too many people have it, but I get it though.
I know.
I get it.
I know. Yeah.
It's a different world. What about you, Serena?
Yeah. Yeah, I like the open mind thing. I think that's really important. I like a partner who is willing to have their mind changed.
Well,
So that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm always going to want to change your mind or you're always going to change mine, but I like having my mind changed. Because we all have patterns, right? So like I have things that I know that are what I think I know. And I like having a really healthy debate with people. So if you're not good at conflict and healthy conflict, like not like fighting and yelling and screaming,
right.
but like a healthy debate, one that just kind of gets you fired up, but you're still laughing at the end of it.
Yeah.
That's what I need in a partner. I need to banter. I'm a strong personality. And if you can't banter with me, then I'm going to fucking eat you up. And that's not cool. That's not sexy to me.
Same.
Right.
No, I can agree to that. I can agree. Okay. Next question comes from Rach82. How do you feel about sex on the first date? Start with you, Serena. How do you feel about sex on the first date?
Do it. Do whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Smooth.
Yeah, I got no
I know.
hang-ups.
So some people don't love that answer. There's lots of different, it could be a whole other podcast, you guys, but the easy way is, like if you want to have sex on the first date, fucking have sex on the first date. It might be shitty sex. It might be really good sex. Don't base don't judge first date sex because everybody's really nervous and nobody knows each other's bodies and you don't even know the person.
Right.
So it could be really weird, so if you're going to judge somebody on the way that they perform on the first time, maybe, check yourself on that.
That's a fact.
But like if you want to go and have some fun, do it. Doesn't mean they're going to stick around. Doesn't mean, you can't make somebody stick around just because you're going to have sex with them. They don't owe you anything afterwards. So you got to have a lot of self-awareness when you're going to have first date sex or really casual sex. But I mean, if it feels good to you and the chemistry is there, have fun.
No, I'm for that. Because for me, I had a situation and stuff one time where I've had like a one night stand, but we kind of just connected and stuff like the night before for hours, right? And then when they came to it and everything, like doing everything and stuff, whatever, that the following day she's like, I don't really do stuff like this and everything. I was like, nobody cares. I'm like, hey, I was like, we're here. We're two consenting adults.
This is a safe space.
Yeah, we use protection. I don't understand.
Be a freak.
Yeah, be a freak.
Well, be a freak, but not everybody feels that way, right?
Right.
She was probably with some people who don't feel that way. And, guys, on the again, women, we do chemically, hormonally, we release different hormones after sex and after orgasm than men do.
Right.
So if you're a guy
and then
if
tryptophan.
you're a girl and you're listening, but just be prepared. I always say pack a little hoe bag and have your hoe plan. So if you're going to have casual sex, like if you know Friday night you're going to go out and you're going to get your freak on, you're going to do your thing, cool. As a woman, I look at other women and I say, have a plan for tomorrow, because tomorrow your body and your brain, those chemicals are going to look at that man like that is your man for life. We're having babies. We got a house. We're going to do the thing. Oh my God. That's the connection. We don't do that on purpose. We're not trying to be cray-cray like that.
Right.
But like our brains, that oxytocin that gets released, that bonding hormone, that does it. But you guys release what's called prolactin. Or vasopressin, and prolactin, which shut you down. Because in caveman world, you would have now gone out and, hunted a saber-toothed tiger while we stayed home and took care of whatever seed you planted in our bellies, right? Like some of the stuff really is biological, but I say to the girls—
It makes sense, perfect sense, because you can't, kill a saber-toothed tiger if you got ass on the mind.
Right? Exactly. You can't do it.
Yeah,
so
man.
you gotta, you gotta have post-nut clarity to go out there and do all of that stuff, right? So it makes sense. But I tell the girls, have plans with your girls the next day. Have brunch plans. Make sure you've got something going on Sunday. Fill up the next couple of days because it takes about 72 hours for your hormones to go back to normal.
Oh.
Now, on the flip side, if you're a man in that situation, have some compassion for that. Understand that maybe there's a part of her that she can't really control. You don't have to give into it. I get it. Casual sex can be casual sex, but we don't have to be assholes about it. And you can be like, how was your day yesterday or whatever, or keep a little bit of distance, but know why you're keeping the distance. Right.
Okay.
Understand that, if this feels like she's coming at me relationship-y and we just kind of had our little fling and that's all I want it to be, that's okay. But don't toss out judgment energy on that. Just protect yourself because you have the right to do that. You have the right to step back. You can do whatever you want, but let's just try not to be assholes to each other.
You hear that, Marv?
Why me?
You were the one with the stalker outside the door.
Yeah, because I know what I'm doing. That's why she stalked me. That's a different story. Okay. Final question comes from Silky Sweetie. If you woke up today as the opposite sex, what's the first thing you would do? I love this question. We always love this question. What would you do? Because you're used to us. What would you do if you woke up as a man?
I would definitely try to suck my own dick.
Really?
100%. Oh my God, you guys, you're so lucky.
I never thought about even bending like that, whatever. The worst case, put like this, worst case scenario and stuff, whatever. I just looked at it stuff as where if a woman did something to me what I feel like I could probably do by myself in my own time, I'm for that. But like the whole bend up, I don't think I'm flexible. I'm 40 now. The body doesn't move the same.
Like, what am I talking about? I would want to touch it. I want to do it if we're talking about sexy things. Like I would want to touch it. I would want to feel what it feels like to fuck a pussy. I would want to know, like, what does that feel like? Why
it's not easy to find a woman to fuck a pussy if you were a man for opposite sex.
If I was a man for a day, I would, I promise.
My girl. I'm not mad at that, Serena. I'm not mad at that. For me, I think, if I was a woman and stuff for like, even for 24 and stuff, whatever, like definitely I will play with the equipment to try and make sure, because I've heard you talk and stuff on one of your other shows about squirting, right?
Yeah.
So, some women do it, some women don't. If I was a woman for the opposite sex for that time,
you would try?
Yeah, I try.
You make it a
I probably lay down some tarp to make sure, because
get some deck shoes.
If it might get soaky, some rain boots. And see what might pop off and stuff, whatever, right? But definitely play with the equipment, because I've been with a woman and one woman told me, she said, what is it like for a guy to have an orgasm? I was like, just a great feeling. And I said, what is it like for a woman? And she said, it feels like a symphony. Every instrument of the symphony, from the percussions to the flutes to this. And I was like, damn, you go, girl.
That's true. Oh, that is such a cool way to explain it.
So I was looking
I've asked men too. I've asked men what it feels like to come in. Like, it's funny, you guys. I don't get like a detailed explanation. They're just like, like it feels amazing. Like it feels really great. But like when I have an orgasm, like I can come, like women can come, like we can have little spurts of, like, oh, that felt good.
Mhm.
But then when you have that orgasm, I mean, yeah, there's like what we like little ones and big ones, but we try not to quantify our pleasure. But like when you have like the one and done, like the big one,
Mhm.
yeah, like I'm seeing stars, like God.
Well,
There's
because
weird
there's
noises
modes.
coming out of me.
There's modes. Like, what about you? You have modes and stuff that are like, there's like I just want to get this nut off to earth shattering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay. Well, appreciate you, Serena. Please tell the people how to find you. Please. We appreciate you.
Yeah, okay, so I would, I have a website, serenahaines.com.
Yes.
You can come to the website if you wanted to book any, like, one-on-one sessions or couple sessions, really easy automated booking that goes in there. Most of my content is on Instagram, so I do hang out on socials quite a bit at Serena_Haines. I'm trying to do TikTok, but you guys, that is a full-time job, and
It
so I'm
is.
not on there all the time.
It is.
Right? I'm like, I don't know how people do that all day, every day. But you can do that, and I would love if you visited my TED Talk on YouTube. So you can just look up Serena Haines at Tedx Argyle.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Okay. We're gonna hit the folks with a little words to wise and stuff to take them with and stuff. That's what we normally do on the show. And for this week's episode, the associated sentence this week is do it with love and not for the love. So say the sons. Yeah, a lot of people and stuff, they don't really put that time and energy and stuff. Just say, I'm just doing it just because I need to do it for this person.
Right.
They want to do it for the attention, the clout.
Hey,
whatever.
look at me.
Yeah, look at me.
Yeah.
I'm doing good in the world. Like, no, just do it for the love that you genuinely want to do it for it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, we appreciate you, Serena. Thank you so much for coming through and having and informing us and then teaching us so many things. The 5-minute rule is a must. And I have some solo time to spend with myself now. I'm going in training.
And green tea.
Yeah, going in training.
And green tea.
I'm excited.
And green
Thanks
tea.
for the rundown. Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing. This was such a great chat.
Yes, no
thank
problem.
you.
We'd love to have you back anytime because I know there's going to be people like, who's that woman and stuff you had on the show? I have so many more questions. I'm going to point them towards you, but if any case, they might have an arsenal of questions and stuff for us. So we might have to redo this again.
Let me know right away. Well, let's get it done. I'm happy to come on whenever you want it.
Sure. And we will wrap up and saying, like, once again, folks, thank you for listening to the Podical Sons. Like, comment, subscribe, all the above, all streaming platforms. And remember, the difference between genius and stupidity is that genius has its limits. Take care. Keep well. Peace out, everybody.
Peace and love.
The Podical Sons with Not Your Average Joseph and Sofa King Marvelous.